At 8:48 a.m. on the 23rd of July 2025, police responded to a report at the Quality Inn at 1380 Putney Road in Brattleboro, Vermont, where a 3-year-old girl was lured into a hotel room. Hotel staff noticed 2 children running in the hallway and security footage. Against hotel policy, they observed the younger child, wearing only a diaper, enter a room after 52-year-old John Oja opened his door and quickly closed it behind him. Staff intervened immediately, retrieved the child, who was unharmed, and returned her to a parent. Police located OJ, who was wearing only a towel at the time of the incident, and took him into custody. OJ claimed that he intended to dress and bring the child to the front desk. However, a police search of the room uncovered children's toys, raising further concerns. OJ was arrested and charged with unlawful restraint and booked into the Windham County Jail on a $1,000 bond. 43-year-old Travis Bowman is in custody following a 5-hour standoff with police, during which he allegedly fired multiple shots at officers. At around 10 p.m. on Wednesday, the 30th of July 2025, authorities responded to reports of shots fired in the 100 block of Evergreen Court in Bardstown, Kentucky. Upon arrival, officers encountered Travis, who was armed, fleeing into a residence where he barricaded himself inside. Authorities said that a woman was delivering food to Travis when he held her at gunpoint, firing 2 shots into the ground and threatened to shoot her in the face. He then pointed the gun at her mother, then fired another shot into the ground. At this time, the woman was able to get away from him and run into a neighbor's apartment. For the next 5 hours, Travis allegedly fired multiple rounds at officers, attempting to negotiate his surrender. At around 3 a.m., police successfully apprehended him after he exited the residence. The standoff caused significant property damage, with the landlord reporting that 3 doors and 3 windows would require replacement due to gunfire. Travis was transported to the Nelson County Correctional Center and charged with attempted murder, wanton endangerment of a police officer, and failure to appear. He is not being charged in connection with the initial shots fired call. Travis is being held on a $500,000 bond. The incident remains under investigation by the Kentucky State Police. A man is accused of beating his roommate to death with a box fan after he asked him for a cigarette. At 10:55 a.m. on the 28th of July 2025, police responded to an apartment at 4600 Coronado Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina, after a 911 caller stated that he had been in a fight with his roommate and he was not awake and that he kicked his ass pretty good. When officers arrived, they spoke with the 911 caller, 40-year-old William Bordsen. They also located the deceased man, identified as 65-year-old Robert Murphy, laying on the living room floor. Homicide detectives were called to the scene to investigate. Robert was found with significant swelling to his eyes and face. There were small lacerations on his face, arms and legs. Multiple large bruises covered his body. Blood was present on the victim's face, arms and legs. Additional blood was located on a blanket in William's bedroom, on the apartment walls, and on the floor near the victim. During an interview with detectives, William said that around 4 a.m., Robert was intoxicated and came into his room asking for cigarettes. When he refused, Robert became angry and a physical fight ensued. During the altercation, he struck Robert with his fists an unknown number of times in the face and head area. At one point during the fight, he used a box fan to strike Robert multiple times in the head. William said that after Robert had fallen to the ground and was attempting to get back up, he admitted to kicking him in the stomach and face multiple times. When questioned about the last assault with his legs to Robert's body, William admitted that they weren't needed and ultimately regretted those extra kicks. Additionally, a footprint was seen on Robert's forearm. William also stated he was sober during the fight and that Robert was intoxicated. Detectives searched through William's phone with his consent. They located multiple photos and videos at around 4:35 a.m. depicting the bloody victim alive, lying on the floor in the same location where the body was later found. In the videos, William can be heard speaking to Robert in a derogatory manner. He did not call 911 until 10:55 a.m., about 6 hours after the photos and videos were taken. Whelan was booked into the Mecklenburg County Jail on a first-degree murder charge. He has since been released after posting a $400,000 secured bond. 38-year-old Joshua Ragan is accused of beating his 71-year-old grandfather with golf clubs and spraying wasp killer into his wounds. At 1:44 p.m. on Monday the 28th of July 2025, authorities responded to a residence in the 3300 block of Covington Drive in Davenport, Iowa, on reports of a domestic disturbance. When officers arrived, they found a 71-year-old man, identified as Joshua's grandfather, in the basement of the home with blunt force trauma to his head and cuts to his head and body. The elderly man was rushed to a local hospital, where medical staff confirmed he had sustained facial injuries, a broken wrist, rib injuries, and required stitches for his head wounds. According to the arrest affidavit, the victim reported that Joshua initiated the attack by punching him in the back of the head and pushing him to the floor. Joshua then repeatedly struck his grandfather with golf clubs, targeting his body and head. In a further act of cruelty, Joshua then sprayed wasp killer into the victim's open wounds where he lay injured. He also threatened to kill and electrocute his grandfather and was seen handling 3 firearms inside the house. Joshua prevented the victim from seeking help by disabling his phone, leaving him unable to call 911 for about 3 hours. During an interview with police, Joshua allegedly admitted to striking his grandfather with the golf clubs and spraying his wounds with wasp killer. Joshua is charged with assault while participating in a felony, willful injury, control of a firearm by a felon, assault causing serious injury, assault of an older individual, and false imprisonment. He is held at the Scott County Jail on a $25,000 bond. A truck driver is behind bars accused of fatally shooting her manager. At around 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, the 24th of July 2025, authorities responded to Hutchins Trucking Yard on Fulgham Road in Hutchins, Texas, on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, they found 47-year-old Carl Joseph Donaldson deceased at the scene with a gunshot wound to his head. The suspect, 57-year-old truck driver Patricia Holt, attempted to flee in a semi-truck. Officers deployed stop sticks, disabling the vehicle on Fulgham Road. Patricia barricaded herself inside the truck cab for nearly 4 hours before surrendering without further incident. During questioning, Patricia allegedly admitted to shooting Carl, claiming the company had been messing with her for too long and owed her a payment for a job from 2 years ago. Tonya Donaldson, the victim's wife and co-manager of the trucking company, said that Patricia was hired in June of 2025 and had been paid for her work. She denied any knowledge of a 2-year-old unpaid job, saying she's only worked for us for a month and she's been paid. Tonya also noted that her husband was trying to calm Patricia down when she shot him. Police are investigating the incident, including any prior interactions between Patricia and Carl. Patricia is charged with murder and remains held at the Dallas County Jail on a $1 million bond. An elderly man has been sentenced to decades behind bars for shooting a woman who refused to have sex. On Thursday the 31st of July 2025, the DeSoto County District Attorney's Office announced that 78-year-old Stephen Robertson of Hernando, Mississippi was sentenced to 30 years in prison for 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Circuit Judge Celeste Wilson ordered 15 years for each charge to run concurrently. According to court records and testimony, Stephen shot a woman in the leg after she refused his demands to get naked and have sex with him. During the incident, Stephen's son intervened, attempting to disarm his father. Stephen then fired 2 shots toward his son. District Attorney Matthew Barton stated, "At 78 years old, this is effectively a life sentence for Mr. Robertson. He will live the rest of his life in a striped jumpsuit. Our office takes violent crime seriously in DeSoto County, and we will continue to hold offenders fully accountable when they endanger others." A man who shot his mother 5 times has been arrested. At around 10:20 p.m. on Thursday the 31st of July 2025, authorities responded to a shooting at the 89 East Apartments at 7218 South 89th East Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. A woman called in and said her son had shot her multiple times. Officers arrived on scene, and immediately took the suspect, 18-year-old Christian Miller, into custody. The victim, a 39-year-old woman, told officers her son was upset with her and shot her 5 times with an AR-15. She was rushed to the hospital and taken into surgery. Her condition is unknown. Christian's charged with domestic assault and battery with a deadly weapon and remains held at the Tulsa County Jail.